Batch is a Google Cloud feature that allows us to schedule and execute batch processing jobs on top of Compute Engine. Each job can be split into multiple tasks, allowing us to easily parallelize our workload. In this video, we are going to quickly compare Cloud Batch with two other alternatives we have in Google Cloud, namely Compute Engine and Cloud Run. And then we are going to deploy a simple Docker image as a Cloud Batch job. All the source code, URLs, and commands we use will be linked in the video description below. And if you want to support the channel, please like the video or consider subscribing. There's a lot of Google Cloud content already and more is coming up. Thank you. We'll start by taking a look at the project that we are going to deploy later to Cloud Batch. It consists of three files, just a simple Python script, requirements file, and a Docker file that builds this script into a Docker image. So basically here we just set up the Google Cloud logging client, and then we print 10 lines to the logger, and between the lines we sleep 1 second. As requirements, we only have Google Cloud logging. Yeah, we can create a virtual environment right now based on Python 11. And the Docker file starts from Python 3.11 and then installs the requirements, copies the script, and the entry point is just Python launching our script. We'll continue by creating a new project in Google Cloud. So if we go to console.cloud.google.com, from this drop down, we'll do create new project. We don't need to change the name. The thing that's important is just this generated ID. Once the project is created, we select the project, switch to it. You'll see that it changed in here as well, and we need to enable billing for our account. Billing. If we search for billing accounts, and here at the bottom on account management, we have to make sure that our new project is added, and it's this one with the smiling gasket 386019. So everything is good. Now we need to enable Container Registry for our Docker image. So we search Container Registry. We need to click enable. Like this. Now we need to also enable Compute Engine. So we search again in bar Compute Engine. Enable this one as well. Okay, it was enabled. It took maybe a minute. Now we can search for batch. I don't remember if we need to enable it or not. Yeah, we need to enable the batch as well. Okay, and also Cloud Run. Search for Cloud Run. This one is already enabled, so we're good to go. Now we will Dockerize our project and push it to Container Registry. So we'll need to copy our project ID from this drop-down menu. This one from here, just copy it. And now in Visual Studio Code or whatever IDE or terminal you are using, we will run docker build -t, and then we need to give it a tag in the following format for our image. So it will be gcr.io, then slash, and then our project ID that we just copied, and then we can give it any name. Let's just say batch Quickstart, and then dot for the current directory. It will take a minute for the Docker image to build. Once it's done, we can do Docker and then Docker push and our image ID. and it needs to upload all the layers. Okay, so if we search for Container Registry in the search bar, we will see this is the Docker image we just pushed, and this is the one we are going to use further. The first method for running batch jobs in Google Cloud is by using Compute Engine. So here from the three dots menu, we can simply deploy this image to GCE, Google Compute Engine. In here we select whatever our region, what type of machine we want. I'm just going to pick a small one because it's much cheaper. And for inside the container, we need to go to restart policy and change it from always to never. If you keep it on always, our script will finish executing in 10 seconds, and then the scheduler will start it again and again forever. So this, let's say, always is good for if you want to keep something running forever, like a web server. But for batch jobs, we need to do never. Or if you want it to be restart on failures, you can do between these two, never or on failure. We will do never. So we select that one. And now if we click create, and if we wait a little bit, the script will finish executing. I skipped ahead about a minute. So we can see our VM is running now, and if we click on it and then go to logging, we will see the 10 log lines that we printed to cloud logging. However, there are two big problems with this method. Well, the first one is that although our script has finished executing a while ago, the VM is still running, and we are still being billed for the resources in Compute Engine, which if we're using a powerful machine, this can add up quick and it can be a problem. And there are workarounds for this. For example, at the end of our script, we can use the Compute Engine API to stop our VM, but there are a few extra steps that it's more effort to do it. And the other one is that if we want to parallelize our workload into multiple jobs, we will need to manually deploy several VMs and so on. Another option we have is using Cloud Run. If we search for Cloud Run in the search bar. So in Cloud Run, we have services and jobs, and for batch jobs, we can use jobs. So we just do create job. And in here, from the container image URL, we go to Container Registry, just use batch Quickstart, select. And Cloud Run allows us to deploy multiple tasks, which is excellent. And but the problem it has is that all the tasks they have a timeout, and the maximum timeout is 1 hour. So if we have a longer running task, we will run into this issue. Otherwise, yeah, we just click on create. Let's see, yeah, it said one task. We can try it out. We can see that our job has finished executing. And if we go to Logs Explorer again and we remove these filters, we will be able to see the logs from the, these are the logs from the Cloud Run. Because we use the cloud logging client, the logs end up in here instead of inside the job, inside this tab in here. Like if we didn't do this thing, we would see them right here. Cloud Run is a very good option for batch jobs running for a short amount of time. But if your workload needs to run for more than an hour, then you will need to use Cloud Batch, which is what we are going to do next. So if you search for batch in the search bar, this will be the UI. First, we are going to deploy a job using the UI, and then we will do it from the command line interface. So in here, if we click on create, we can give it a name. Let's say batch from UI, let's call it 1. As usual, we can select a region in here. Not all the regions are available for this feature, only some of them. Then again, we can select the type of machine we want, and in here we can either run a script or a container image. So here we need to enter the image URL, which means we need to go to Container Registry. So Container Registry, and we need to see how we need to copy that image like that. Entry point, we leave it default, and in here we can select how many tasks we want to run. Actually, let's try to run 2 tasks in parallel. And now the question is how we can distinguish between which task is running inside the program. And in here, if we go to the documentation, we will see that they set some environment variables. I think it's called this one, batch task index. So we can change our program briefly just to add that index. So let's say task that, and then we need to import OS like that. So we print os.environment get, and then batch task index. Actually, it's the other way. First batch task index and then the line number. And then the line number. And I'm going to make this program to run a bit longer. Let's say 100, and then sleep 5 seconds. So it will be 500 seconds, which is almost 10 minutes. Okay, everything looks good. So now we just need to, in the terminal, we need to rebuild our image. So we do docker build again, like that. And now docker push. And if we go to images, we should see our new image that was created. So now we copy this image tag and we deploy this one in here in batch. So here we delete this one. Let's quickly check some few digits. So F9B after the colon. Yeah, it's the correct image. Everything else looks good. So now we can just create our batch job. And they take a while to be executed. First they are queued, then they will be scheduled, and then they will be running and eventually complete. I skipped ahead a couple of minutes. Now our job has the status running. And if we go to Compute Engine, so we will see that there's this VM that was generated by that was launched by Cloud Batch. So Cloud Batch does run on top of Compute Engine, but it will do the managing on our behalf. So when our batch workflow has finished executing, they will delete this VM for us, such that we are not being charged for resources. And in here, if we go to this VM and we go to logging, we will see that we get log lines from both tasks. So they make similar progress because they sleep the same amount of time. But we'll see first the task 0 processes line 18, then task 1 processes line 18, and so on. One feature that is missing from the Cloud Batch web UI is the ability to pass environment variables to our jobs. And if we go here and we try to create a new job, if we scroll down to runnables, we will see that we can choose between a container image or a script, and we can pass the image URL, but there's no option to add additional environment variables. And if we go back to the documentation, there will be a section in here about environment variables. I will add it to the video description as well. So these are the environment variables that are passed by default. This is the one we use that just mentions the task index. This is the total number of tasks. But if we want to define custom environment variables, we need to create our batch job either from the gcloud command line interface in the terminal or using the API. And we are going to use this method, the gcloud command in the terminal, but we will need to write a manifest for our batch job. So in here, we'll start with this JSON manifest, and inside Visual Studio Code, we'll add it. So let's say batch job.json. So in here, we can specify what type of machine we want our batch tasks to run on. Just like before, the total number of tasks and how many can run in parallel. Let's do 2 and 2 like before. This is how much CPU per tasks. So 2000 means 2 CPUs, which is a bit excessive. Let's do 1000. And this is how much memory and megabytes of RAM. We'll do 256. This is the environment variable that we want to pass. Let's call this one secret. And let's say ABC123. And this manifest is for launching a script batch job, but in our case, we need to launch a container, so we need to modify this one. It will be container, and we need one property in here, image URI, and this will be our image URI from Container Registry, so from right here. But right now, also let's make a change to our code to print the password that we are getting, just to verify that it is linked correctly. So our environment variable will be called secret. In here, let's print secret like that. Oh, and also we're going to remove the cloud logging setup, because we will want to see the logs inside the batch web UI, not in Stackdriver. So for now, we comment out that setup, and instead we do logging.basic config level equals logging.info. Okay, so in here we have the task number, then we also print the secret like that, and then lastly the line number. So yeah, now it looks good, and we need to rebuild our image in the terminal, so we do docker build again. And docker push. Okay, very good. So if we refresh it now, we will see the new image. It was created just now. We copy the image name, and we need to fill it in our manifest in here. So inside the image URI, we paste the image we just copied. Okay, everything else looks good. So if we go to documentation, this is the command that we need to run. Yeah, we'll copy that one, and we need to adapt it a little bit. Let's see. So just our config will be called batch job.json. Let's call this one batch with env. Yeah, it looks good. What we also need to do is we have to make sure we are in the correct gcloud project in the terminal. So we will do gcloud config set project. And now from the Google Cloud Console, let's say from here, we need to copy our project ID again. From there, smiling gasket 386, good. So now if we run this command, we should see the new batch job being right now. I think it should be queued. We see it has the name we specified. I skipped ahead a little bit, and now our job is running. So if we go in here to events, oh, actually it says that logging is not enabled. Yeah, I think I forgot to enable the logging in our manifest. So we need to add this section in here, logs policy, and redeploy. So in here, yeah, at the top level, we need to add this section like this. And if we deploy it again, let's call this one batch with env and logging. So it's created now, and we should see it being scheduled. Yeah, this one. Now our new job is running. So if we go again to events, we see logging is enabled. And yeah, we can see we have the task ID, we have the secret, and also the line index, which is what we expected. That's it for today. There are more Google Cloud videos on this channel if you want to continue watching. And if you have any questions or you run into issues, let me know in the comment section below. Thank you for watching.